I'd like to welcome you to the school board's business meeting at the Joanne Idolette Junior TEC. Today is Monday, July 28th, 2025, and I would like to call this meeting to order. The time is 6 p.m. I ask that out of respect to everyone, please silence all electronic devices at this time. Also, if you have any materials you wish to share with any board member, please give that to our executive assistant, Mrs. Moray. All right, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Are we getting the kids back next month?
Towards the end of the month, I hope, yeah, maybe.
Okay. I miss the ROTC kids.
Dorian says yes.
Okay, good, good. All right, board members, before we adopt the orders of the day, I'm asking the superintendent to speak to an item that I find of good cause to be added to the action agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, board members, for the dialogue and conversation during our workshop this afternoon. And as a result, I ask the board chair to consider good cause for the following item. And leading in the interest of caution, I am seeking the board's authorization to approve a classical education pilot for the following curriculum use in kindergarten and first grade only at Pelican Island Classical Magnet School. The curriculum includes, but is not limited to, Singapore math, great books, and explode the code. The expectation is to expeditiously review all legal sufficiency in accordance with Policy 2520 and Section 1006.28 and 1006.283 will happen simultaneously and be brought to the board when it fully meets the requirements set forth in the policy. This authorization supports the commitment to lead with school choice, parental rights in Indian River County. And we'll discuss the item when it is brought forward.
Okay, so we're going to add this item.
Madam Chair.
Hold on one second. Got to go back here. Okay, so I'm going to add this item as an action item. And I'm not sure what number we're up to.
11C, it would be 11C.
Thank you. 11C. Okay. Ms. Rosario?
For Dr. Moore and for Ms. Is this on?
It's on, it's just not close enough. They're always on.
Okay. For Dr. Moore and Ms. Envil, just a note, there are two items that were emailed to us that were not included in the item that you just mentioned in terms of curriculum. And that would be the new American Cursive Penmanship and the Story of the World. So those were the other two items that were included as curriculum that I believe need to be added as a pilot.
So I'll amend it when we get to add
Yeah.
those two curriculums.
Yeah, so I
All right.
just wanted you to know that was in email dated February 10th.
That's what I was going from, okay.
Okay. So, board members, are there any other items that anyone wants to move from consent to action or add to discussion? Okay. Then I'm going to call for a motion to accept the adoption of the orders of the day as amended.
So move.
Second.
Okay, Jones and Pasca. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes 5-0. We are to the superintendent's report. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am going to provide an update to our community regarding our academic outcomes. The board had the honor and privilege of hearing this about 6 hours ago. So we were going to duplicate that presentation. And this looks at the overall outcomes for the last 5 years, and I'm going to kind of focus in the last 3 years. So when you look at language arts grades 3 through 10, that is the state accountability's group of children they look at for improvement in ELA or decline. You can see 18-19. 18-19 is the last full year there was an academic outcome prior to my arrival, as well as the pandemic. So we went from 31st to 10th. That is a top 10 state ranking. We're very proud of that. When you look at language arts third grade, and third grade for us is a big movement or a major priority. We went from 38th of 67 to number 2, one of a second in the state ranking, which we're also very, very proud of. And looking at mathematics, grades 3-8, algebra, and geometry, that basically takes you through, in most cases, through 10th grade, 36th in the state to 14th in the state. And looking at science, grade 5, grade 8, those students take an end-of-year assessment in those 2 grade levels, as well as biology, a state ranking of 35th now to a top 5 state ranking. When you look at social studies, which includes civics in 7th grade, U.S. history in high schools, depending on what grade they take it, sometimes 9th, sometimes mostly 10th though. Once again, below on the bottom average, the bottom side of the lowest 50%, 38 of 67, another top 10 state ranking this past school year. When you look at middle school acceleration, 56 to another top 5 ranking of number 2 in the state. When you look at all students who tested, so the results that I just reviewed looked at the children who contributed to the school grade, and those are students who were present in October as well as in February. This is all students who actually took the test. And we put 18, 19 through 24, 25, but I really would like you all to focus in on the last 3 years. 22, 23 was the first A in a very long time. And each year since then, we have been an A district. But even though we were an A district in 22, 23 with 59% of our white students scoring at proficiency, we're able to improve that by 10 percentage points over the last 2 years to 69. Black students improving from 33% of our students at proficient to 49%. Significant improvement. Hispanic students 41 to 53, and the total number 48 to 60, a 12 percentage point increase. The increases at the end are from all the way back to 18, 19. So we have met and exceeded where we were before the pandemic. Most cases we did that 2 or 3 years ago. And looking at combined mathematics, still focusing in on 22, 23 to this year. White students improving 9 percentage points, black students improving 13 percentage points, Hispanic students improving 13 percentage points for a total 52 to 62. So across all students, you're seeing significant rates of growth. You're seeing some of our lowest performing subgroups continue to grow at a faster pace, catching up to their counterparts. When you look at state rankings in terms of our students by subgroup, once again, significant rankings as a whole. White students 32 to 17, black 42 to number 11 in the state, Hispanic 41 to 17 in the state, and total rankings in ELA 38 to 13. And combined mathematics 34 to 18 for white, black 43 to a state ranking of 11, Hispanic 38 to 16 for a total of 40 to 17. So no matter which way you slice this apple or banana or whatever it is you want to call it, across the board, your teachers, your administrators are performing at incredibly high levels. So as mentioned, we were 38 of 67 in the state. That's all components that make up the state grade. Where did we land a few weeks ago when the state released these outcomes? We are now a number 5 district, a top 5 district in the state of Florida, which is absolutely right where we should be, and we're striving to improve upon that. When you look at this slide, this is a slide that I've used when I got here, and the intention of this slide is to bring the community to a level of awareness that Charlotte and Martin County are outperforming us, and they are very similar districts in size, although Martin County has a whole bunch more money than we have in terms of overall size and demographics. Makeup of our community, very similar in both Charlotte and Martin. Brevard, much bigger system, but very similar to us as a community. And then I always included Miami-Dade because that's the district that I came from. So I want you to focus in on Indian River County as I transition to the next slide. That's where we were in 1819, and this is where Indian River County is now. Significant improvement, and when you compare us to the other districts, some of the districts are still trying to get back to where they were in 1819. Others are basically where they were. But Indian River County, significant improvement in terms of letter grades for our schools. When you take a deeper dive at letter grades, 47% of our schools were an A or a B in 1819. 100% of our schools are A or B. And we're the only one on this slide who can claim that. I think there's only a handful of, I think it was 14 districts in the state that had all A's and B's, but don't quote me on that. Individual school success that we want to celebrate. Dodgertown moved to a C to an A. Glendale moved from a B to an A. Vero Beach Elementary School from a B to an A. Gifford Middle School, a B to an A. Sebastian River, B to an A. Storm Grove Middle School, B to an A. Sebastian River High School, B to an A. And these are the schools who all maintained their A grading. And the simple fact that not a lot of other districts can say 0 schools regressed in academic letter grade. Every school either maintained or improved. So there's going to be a lot of additional funding coming to our teachers and staffs and A+ money once again this year because significant rates of improvement. Additional school highlights to share. Beachland celebrated a 91% of its students scoring at 3 or above in 3rd grade. Very exciting. Liberty Magnet was right behind them at 89. So they've set the bar for us moving forward, and we're very excited to ensure that we make that 90 group crowded at the end of next school year. Indian River Academy, 85%, a traditional neighborhood school, top 4% of all elementary schools, science score for 5th grade, absolutely outstanding. And this is a chart that I shared with the board. And basically what it highlights, this is also a slide that I shared with each leadership team last week, each school site leadership team. And you see at the bottom our rate of growth, identifying our goals for 25-26. And it's not significant growth. It's very similar to the growth that we had last year as well as the previous year. So this is a pathway to having 900 points, which would exceed the highest performing district in the state of Florida. It's very doable, and we're very, very excited to go after a year's worth of growth for every single student in this district, and we are leveraged in order to do so. So some additional updates. We are, at the end of today, we're 9 days away from opening the 25-26 school year, but the team who sits in front of the board and myself has been eagerly at work, I would say all summer long, but this work started significantly before then. One of the new things that we're rolling out is My SDIRC app, which is the school district in the palm of every parent's hand, provides news, events, messaging, groups for classroom parents to be together, your very specific events that are happening, all aligned and designed for your specific school. As well as rooms, which are opportunities to engage and create chats with other teachers and other groups within the school. All designed where the teachers are the narrators of this. They're creating their particular schools in which they want to receive that information. Gone are the days of having to filter through our cloggy 15-click website that no one up here has really enjoyed. We hear you, and we're going to a system. If it's more than 3 clicks, Dr. Shafty, that's too many clicks. That's a quote from her. That's why I was giving her credit. Was just completely excited to participate in the district leadership professional development. We had that 2 weeks ago. at Northern Trust, where they just provided us the space to meet. And you see our leadership team meetings. This is all district personnel, our senior staff and above, working together to refine their practices and create their wildly important goals and connecting their wildly important goals to our district's plan and initiatives moving forward. So we are aligned from the district's way of work in order to streamline and provide the highest level of support and service for our teachers and our administrators as we move into next school year. Last week was exhausting, but probably the best kind of exhaustion you can experience, where we spent 3 full days engaging, that's why it's called Engage, engaging with the leadership teams. So what you see here are the leadership teams of each of our schools, looking at what worked last year, defining opportunities to shift and modify practice, and identify what are the system's key initiatives in order to ensure that we pick up those additional points moving into next school year. Very excited about the depth, the quality, and intentionality in which each of those teams were talking, and the specificity of their plans is putting us in a great starting point. This is just some visual of those 3-day event. We actually started at Gifford Pool with a team building activity where they had to build boats out of cardboard. Everyone survived, and most of the boats floated with absolute expertise. It was just a joyful experience, and you can just see some of the joy of our staff, and that's IRA pointing out top 4%, so they told us that, and the level of engagement of our staff during those 3 days. So we are absolutely locked and loaded in terms of our alignment between the district and the teachers and leadership teams, and really, really looking forward to continue to build upon our academic outcomes, and we will do that. In the next couple of slides, this is some of the information that we're doing to get the good word out about our school system. I feel like I've done more interviews in the last week than I've done in the last 2 years. Really proud to talk about the work all of our teachers and principals and administrators are doing. Our 3 key areas as we move into next school year is connected by community. And we say connected by community, meaning we thrive together to build strong, supportive, and trusting relationships with families, staff, and community partners. So we start that conversation by connecting to each other within this district office, within schools, in order to ensure that we truly we understand what we believe, how we believe it, and we fully want to be in service to our community. Last year, we spoke a lot about customer service. Now we're talking about our community thriving together and our schools being viewed as a true hub of connection in our communities. I don't think a lot of school systems are talking about their schools with that level of intentionality, and we're very excited to push out our pillar events, which are community-wide events throughout the year, where we're going to use the voice of the public school system to bring awareness around the great things that build community with parents and with our community inside of our schools. Opening the doors wide open, access fully available, and schools seen as true hubs within our community. Fueled by innovation, we challenge what is possible. And I told the board this afternoon that our last 5 years of success, we celebrate, we're very, very proud of, but that was very intentional to get us to this level of academic success, to engage in the conversation around reinventing what public education is all about. And we're going to challenge the norm. We're going to use this incredibly neat strategy, which we call listening, listening to our community, listening to our parents, and figuring out ways that we're going to question what is the norm and create a public school system that is truly standing in service of its community. One of the highlights or examples of that is this board approved a legislative priority to seek flexibility for high-performing school districts. I had the opportunity to share that because I think it's innovative, and I think from a state's perspective, you need to highlight systems that are doing this work in an outstanding way, and give them the opportunity to pilot or innovate to kind of lead the path, be the beacon of hope. And not all counties were receptive to that. So we are leading from the front in this specific area, and then driven by leadership. And when we say leadership, it's very important to hear the words, we lead at every level. Every employee in this system is a leader. And we want to connect with them to empower them to take the initiative, to have a level of integrity, to be heard, to define ways for us to do this work more efficiently, more effectively, and really, really begin to fuel our leaders to transform this system. Leadership will drive the innovation. And right now in our school sites, our principals, with the leadership of their teachers and teams, are really pushing us to define ways to fund some of the innovation ideas that they have in the oven right now that they're baking. And I look forward to bringing to this board as soon as they're fully developed. Madam Chair, that is the presentation for this board meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kudos.
I'll take it.
And all right, we seem to be doing that for you a lot, which is a good thing. All right, procedures for public input. At this time, I'm going to read our procedures for public input according to our school board policy 0169.1. During regular business meetings of the board offers the following 2 opportunities for the public to provide input. First opportunity on an agenda item, on consent agenda and/or action agenda item, prior to the board taking official action on a proposition, and during the public input section for items not on the agenda. For those who are watching, please understand that though we have established proper decorum and expectations of professionalism when it comes to individuals who wish to provide public input, this is a live broadcast. Each individual speaker shall be allotted for up to 3 minutes during public input and up to 3 minutes to an item on the consent agenda and/or action agenda, as indicated on the order of business as it exists at the time the meeting starts. The time period may be adjusted by the presiding officer. Individuals may only speak about an item given once. Individuals who filled out the speaker's form are allowed to address the board. Individuals may not delegate their allotted time to speak for other individuals. An item is moved from either the consent agenda or discussion agenda to the action agenda. Individuals will have the opportunity to speak to the item prior to the vote of the board. During the meeting, please refrain from clapping or outbursts of any sort so that we can proceed with dignity and with decorum, and may not infringe on any individual's First Amendment rights in this limited public forum setting. As board members listen to individuals without interruption, individuals are asked to give board members the same respect. Board members may or may not address any individual statements at the end of the public input comments. I will be recognizing and calling up individuals 2 at a time in the order in which the speaker forms were received. The first individual will be called to the podium to speak, and the second individual will be in line to speak. The executive assistant to the school board will be our official timekeeper when the speaker is at the podium. As you see, the time clock is visible to the left on the dais, and you will hear a beep at the end of your 3 minutes. If you have anything to give to board members or the superintendent, please do this through our executive assistant, Mrs. Moray, sitting right here. All right. At this time, we have 4 speakers. Our first speaker is Margaret Murray. Our second speaker will be Jennifer Pippin.
Good evening. My name is Margaret Murray, and I am the Vice Chair of Education Champions, a grassroots group that advocates for strong public education here in Indian River County. Tonight, I rise to offer congratulations and sincere appreciation. The Florida Department of Education recently awarded the A rating for the 3rd time in a row. That's a significant achievement, and it didn't happen by accident. That rating reflects real results. improvements in reading, math, and science scores, growth in student performance, and a deep commitment to academic excellence. These outcomes are the direct result of the hard work of our students, our teachers, our support staff, our principals, our administrators, and the leadership and direction of our superintendent, Dr. Moore. In a time when public education is often under attack, this district continues to deliver. That matters. It speaks to the strength of the teams who lead our schools and the commitment to put students first. So, on behalf of Education Champions and many community members who support our public schools, thank you. And congratulations on this well-deserved success. Lastly, we hope this board continues to support and empower the leadership team. I want to repeat that. We hope this board continues to support and empower, look the word up if you don't know what that means, the leadership team so that momentum built can continue for the benefit of every child in Indian River County. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Jennifer Pippin. On deck will be Thomas Kenny.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Pippin, and I'm the proud chairman of Moms for Liberty here in Indian River County. I want to start by commending Dr. Moore and his staff for their hard work in preparing for the new school year. The clarity and transparency of the new student forms, focus system, and app are a strong reflection of your commitment to honoring parental rights and having full transparency. We see it and we appreciate it. For the first time since our organization became involved in education locally, we're seeing real, measurable academic improvement. Test scores are finally rising, and we believe that it's no coincidence. It's the result of the persistent accountability, strong leadership, and community involvement, like many from our Moms for Liberty parents, grandparents, and community members. Despite the noise from fringe liberal activists and biased media outlets who have tried and failed to discredit our work, we have stayed focused on what matters, the success of our students and the strength of in our schools, as you can see in the presentation today. We've worked closely with the district since shortly after Dr. Moore arrived. We've served on committees, attended countless meetings like this one, asked tough questions, and fought for transparency and excellence. While we don't expect a thank you like you do with other community partners, tonight I want to publicly thank our Moms for Liberty members of over 5,000 here in Indian River County who've been consistently showing up, staying informed, and making sure this district puts students first. We're proud of the progress and will keep doing the work, not for the recognition, but because the children of Indian River County deserve the best education we can give them. I watched the superintendent workshop today. I know you guys covered a lot. I have a couple questions. So with the classical school curriculum, I want to understand why it's being considered supplemental if that entire school is going to be doing that classical education. That doesn't make sense to me because as a parent, maybe I wanted to review that curriculum, or the parents there could have had the options to review different curriculums like we have with everything else, math, science, social studies, things like that. So I think having more transparency of what curriculums could have been adopted would have been better for this board and the parents. So the parents may have chosen a different curriculum that are signed up to go to that school and start in a couple of weeks. Maybe they would have chosen one over the other. And I feel like it was kind of done in the dark. I know you guys had a lot of conversations about the classical curriculum and curriculums that you guys could have chosen from, but you never had it narrowed down or had citizen input or had community input. And it's not that I don't trust the amazing staff that we have, but why was this different from any other curriculum adoption that we've had in the past? So I hope we can rectify that, and thank you for your time, and let's make this school year the best one yet.
Thomas Kenny is next. Kevin McDonald is our last speaker.
Hi, everyone. I want to go to the workshop today because there's something I've been hearing through the chair from Mr. Dyer about the sleight of hand of the state and their budgeting, and how 70% of the students in the county that take advantage of scholarships have never attended school here. And then there's the whole idea now that, through the chair, Ms. Jones said that we're not on a level playing field any longer since this has taken place. Those parents have never been on a level playing field. They're taxpayers. Regardless of the accounting two-step and the sleight of hand, at the end of the day, they pay taxes. And they had to pay taxes, not use the school system, and educate themselves somewhere else as to their choosing. The state has recognized that and has said we are going to fund the public's education, not necessarily the public education institutions, at a level we funded them before. We're going to expand how we fund our constitutional mandate. I think that's very significant. You know, you would say we're doing really well. We're 5th in ranking. Dodgertown, for example, got an A, but the ELA at 3rd grade in Dodgertown is 47. So parents may ask the question, how does that get an A if the ELA at 3rd grade? One of the most important gradings, I might add, for test assessments that we bank all of it on is a 47, and the school still gets an A. For example, Vero Beach Elementary jumped 22 points from a 47 to a 69 this year and achieved an A. I'm not ignoring the work that's being done and all of that stuff, but the reality of it is the 5th is compared to schools that are measured this way. I mean, in Hillsborough County, a much bigger district, they're still fighting over whether or not genderqueer is good literature with its pictures of disgusting sex acts for kids to look at. So, you know, understand how you're graded and who is your competition in those grades and in those rankings. There are schools in our county that are beating charter schools, Beachland, Liberty in reading, and other areas. And I think that's awesome because that's who you're going to really be measured by. And I've said this before. So I would appreciate that you would understand the plight of those who want to be recognized by the state and a chance to educate their kids as they see fit. And I am glad the state is doing this. One thing Dr. Moore has always done
Thank you, sir.
is recognize
Thank you.
choice in this district.
Mr. McDonald will be our last speaker.
Thank you. First, I wanted to have the opportunity to congratulate not only Dr. Moore, but all the people in the staff who I know have been working harder this summer than they do all during the school year. And the results show it again this year. So I congratulate them on that. And I recall back a year ago when I challenged Dr. Moore and I said that he was next year going to be the #1 school district in the state. And I was pleased to see at the workshop today that he took up that challenge and he's made that commitment. So I'm looking forward to seeing those results. And it's due to him, his staff, the board as well, and of course all the teachers and staff on the schools. One of the things Dr. Moore said today in the workshop meeting was to inspect what you expect. It's a very common business term and concept, and we need to remember that as a school board as well. Our job is not only to provide guidance for what they're going to do, but also provide oversight. And so regarding the classical curriculum, oversight is really important, and it seemed that through the work group discussion, that was being slighted to a degree. We have to remember that while you have the best, the temptation is to let the best run with what they've got. But that's not your challenge, your responsibility as a board. It's not just give them direction, let them do well, but to inspect what you expect. So you do have the responsibility and the need to make sure you provide that additional insight and that oversight through the course of the process, including things like this curriculum. I was real pleased to see that it's going to come up, that Dr. Moore took it on himself to make that initiative where perhaps it should have come from the board. But I'm glad to see that you're going to take it up and make it a formal action this evening. And I think that it's important. And the temptation is to trust the best and overlook put your oversight on the worst, but you also have to just do your due diligence when you've got the best, because you want to make sure that you help them stay the best and help him stay the best. And last, I've heard mention some things about supporting public education. I've seen that a number of times, and it just struck me that when I was on the board, my goal was not to support public education. My goal was to support student education. To the degree that it falls under your direct authority, that's great, you should do the best you can. But ultimately, our goal is student education, whether it's through vouchers and other systems, whatever works best for those students as decided by their parents should be our ultimate goal. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to consent agenda. We do have a speaker on this, speaker on number 6E, which is the approval of the School Media Center book orders for 2025-2026. I believe it's Ms. Pippin.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm going to keep this brief. So we had a group look over the list of books, and we compared it to the other DOE removal lists. So the DOE removal list for 24-25 has not been released yet, but we did compare it to the books, previously removed from other school districts. A lot of them are really great books. I really am happy with the direction that they're looking at. It was pretty streamlined. They had both ends of, some debatable issues. They got a lot of characters, which I thought was really great, into the elementary, getting more back to basics. So I was really happy to see what was on the list, and they were pretty, like I said, streamlined across all of the schools. I haven't, maybe I missed it, seen any high school or middle school lists that have ordered yet. I believe there was one middle school. So my question to the board is, when are they going to start ordering new books in that capacity? Since the libraries have been weeded out, I saw a lot of elementary orders, the past couple orders that they've done. And I also wanted to thank you guys for the process. Being able to see those lists and getting them approved through the SAC, you guys are doing a really great job. And as much as we criticize and had a lot of problems with this with the board, I wanted to compliment you in the way that this was handled through the SAC committees, bringing it to the board, having full transparency of what's being put in our children's classrooms and libraries. So thank you.
Okay, we have an item that was amended in the consent. We don't need to speak to it, right? Because we discussed it at the workshop. Okay, so I'm going to, at this time, then recognize the superintendent report recommendation for that item to be amended and added to the consent.
I'm sorry, say again? It was.
We already amended it.
Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to ask then for us to have call for a motion
Wait,
as amended.
Madam Chair, point of order, question. You said he already amended it, but when I mentioned the two particular curriculum,
It's not that one.
is it not that one?
No, it
Separate
was the one
action
that had the little errors. The number D was
Scrivener's errors.
1 and,
Oh,
Just do corrections.
yes, okay,
okay,
different one, got it,
that's under consent. The other one is an action item.
got it.
Okay. I'm going to call for a motion for the consent agenda as amended.
So move?
Second,
All right, I've got Jones and Dyer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, that passes 5-0. All right, we are to action agenda item, and we're going to start with the added item of classical pilot. Dr. Moore.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and as Ms. Rosario referenced, I'm going to reread this item, and it will be an amendment to the initial item that I read at the beginning of this meeting. Leading in the interest of caution, I am seeking the board's authorization to approve a classical education pilot for the following curriculum use in kindergarten and first grade only at Pelican Island Classical Magnet School. The curriculum includes, but is not limited to Singapore math, great books, and Explode the Code. It also includes New American Cursive Penmanship and Story of the World. Let me go find out where I left off. The expectation to expeditiously review for legal sufficiency in accordance with policy 2520, section 1006.28 and 1006.283 will happen simultaneously and will be brought to the board when it fully meets the requirements set forth in policy. This authorization supports our commitment to lead with school choice, parental rights in Indian River County. So that is the item that is before you. Based on the conversation today, immediately following the workshop, I had the opportunity to sit with our attorney and staff and review the process, the extensive process that was put in place. And we approach this as a supplemental curriculum and meeting with the attorney. I think it's in the board's best interest to approve this item. What this item seeks to do is to move to a pilot program and while at the same time go through the adoption process that is set out in those policies and sections that I highlighted. Let me be clear, the work that the system did, the teachers did, the training that took place couldn't be any more transparent. We sold parents on this curriculum. We sold a classical education. Unfortunately, what we have not done, apparently, Ms. Attorney, is approve this curriculum as a core curriculum. Why did we not do that? Because I assumed, let me say assume, I believe it to be a supplemental curriculum. I don't have to be right, I have to be legal, and I have to protect this board and myself. So we crafted this item together with Dr. Shafty, myself and the attorney. So this is the item that's before you. It allows us to continue to deliver on what we promised parents we would be providing on day one, while at the same time give every assurance to this board that the established policies were executed the way they should be. Amy, you want to add anything? That's the item before you.
Okay, and so before discussion, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve this item.
I make a motion?
Okay, Dr. Dyer, Mr. Dyer, and Ms. Rosario. I'm sorry. All right, any discussion on this item?
Yes.
Ms. Rosario?
Yes, I'm glad that I brought this up then today because it needed to, I've been bringing this up for months. This isn't something new. I have the agenda as far as February, even talking about curriculum, when are we going to get it and when are we going to approve it. So I'm glad that we talked about it today, if not for this particular purpose. The question, though, that I have for you, Dr. Moore, you said it will be brought back to us when it fully meets, and then I didn't catch the rest of the thing that you said. But when you say it will be brought back to us, do you mean at the end of the 30-day?
Yes, well, we will begin notification.
Can you talk a little bit about the timeline and the expectations on that, please?
So we will, tomorrow morning, we'll begin the notification process, conduct the appropriate meetings. Follow 2520, and then bring it back to the board. The initiation of the pilot program allows us to deliver on what we're currently doing, additional notification to parents, which they will say, yeah, that's what you told me. There are no issues there. So it was a great problem-solving process.
Dr. Jones?
Just a few, are you finished, Mrs. Zario?
I'm waiting for him to drop the mic. There you go.
Okay. You know, when I look at magnet school development, our first magnet school was Osceola in 1988. And I remember when we started, we really built it from the foundation up. It just didn't happen magically, in a year or so. Osceola with the math and science, STEAM, Rosewood with the core curriculum, and then Liberty Magnet with the pre-IB, MYP, and then IB leading into the high school. You know, what's really, really important in this is that, and I can look back at all the magnet schools each year, they became better, they became more focused, the staff development, the support from the district. So again, I know this doesn't happen overnight, and I've seen magnet schools in other areas where there's simply a magnet, but there's really nothing special about them. So each of these areas, and obviously since '88, we've been holding strong on our magnet schools, and I wanted to continue with the classical. I just want to make sure, obviously, that they have the PD, the support, the principal, the give and take, you know what I mean, Dr. Moore, because this doesn't work with the curriculum and so forth, and as they go into the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade along with Osceola and Rosewood, you know, those will be the same kind of issues they have, but, you know, we begin with the foundation, and then we have to really, really monitor how that continuum is working in these subject areas. And I know with our parents, our students, our leadership, our district staff, we can do that. It's just something that just is not going to happen overnight, and we've just got to be here for them.
Dr. Foster, you want to say anything?
I'm just glad we're following the process and the board policy.
Mr. Dyer?
Yeah, I think this is really a great thing. I understand there's been tremendous demand for the classical program, and you have to start it somewhere. And I think that, when Dr. Moore and I met with the Commissioner of Education, they certainly commended us for the process that we were going through and the sources that we were using to develop the education curriculum. I also believe that we were the second one in the state to do this.
We're tied for first because
Tied
we're
for
both
first,
starting in the
right,
same
we're
time.
happening right at the same time.
We're first.
So we're blazing new territory, and so, you know, there is no state-approved classical curriculum. So I think that it does take a lot of thought and a lot of work, which the team has been doing, but the proof is in the pudding, and I think that we've got a great idea that was started, and thanks for Mr. McDonald, really, for talking about this some months ago, and I think it is a reality, and it's a good thing. And I believe that this program will be executed well, and that the curriculum will be done properly and according to the statute number
1006.28 and 283.
1000.628
1006.28.
and 1006.283.
May I follow up?
Yes.
I want to go back to the timeline, if I may. What I'm concerned with is an extended pilot period, where, I don't know what this pilot is going, what the outline of the writing is going to be in terms of a pilot. Is it going to be a pilot for up until 40, 50, 60 days? Is it a pilot for the whole year? Is it a pilot until the approval process? Like that, I want to make sure that we're not doing a pilot for, 6 months, when in fact all we're needing is the official adoption program. So if the pilot can be included in that, a pilot until the official adoption process
So
sees
my,
its
my,
way to the.
my intent in doing this relatively quickly, and why we decided on that language, is we will map out the required timelines, vet it for legal sufficiency, and when we bring the item, which I am hoping to be at our very next board meeting, that would evaporate and the item would state, so the pilot has come to a close.
That won't be 30 days, but that's okay.
It won't be
And then
30.
at the
29,
minimum,
yeah.
September.
Yeah.
The minimum.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We were
At the-
worried about, Madam Chair, we were worried about putting a specific time frame on it in case that.
Yeah.
Correct. No, I get it. What I don't want is for it to go on for infinity because we weren't
Right.
clear about what that infinity, where that should end.
And beyond. Right.
Which happens all the time. If we're not clear, it's interpreted, to just go on for forever.
So I'm not familiar with some of this curriculum, but I am familiar with Singapore math. And I know Singapore math to be very classical in its nature. How many other math programs are there that are classical? I mean, how long is this
Hundreds.
process going to be because of that?
There's not a core curriculum for that, but the advantage we have is in terms of working with the staff and working with the parents, that work has been done. So once we put the process in place, I couldn't imagine there being any other recommendation. This is the recommendation of staff going through the process. They will rank them. It's going to be hard to rank when there's only, there's not a core curriculum that exists. This is a curriculum that we've worked with the teachers in the community to develop. Now, when the state does, and they're in process, as Mr. Dyer was saying, creating their own classical curriculum, we're going to have to go through that process as well and evaluate what we've currently put together and what the state has put together. But when you're leading from the front, these are the kinds of things that take place. We want to move as fast as we possibly can. We just got to be able to move as fast as we possibly can and remain legal.
Okay, so I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That passes 5-0.
Thank you, Dr. Shafty.
All right.
Beast.
We are on action agenda item 11A, public hearing for adoption of the revisions to school board policies. There are several. Do I need to read every single policy number?
Yeah, I think you can refer to the agenda.
Okay, I'm going to refer to the agenda on the various policies, 3 pages. This item deals with approval for adoption of revisions to school board policies as noted. Dr. Moore, have you documented that this public hearing was properly advertised in accordance with state statutes?
Yes.
We now recess this meeting to conduct the public meeting as advertised. Public hearing is now in session. The time is 6:51. Dr. Moore, are there any written responses to the advertised public hearing to be read at this time?
Not at this time.
The public is invited to address only this issue at this time. Is there an individual representing an organization or of his own personal or public interest that wishes to speak?
Hearing none.
Seeing none? All right. The announced public hearing for approval of this noted on this item, adoption of revisions to school board policies has been conducted pursuant to notice, and ample opportunity to address this issue has been provided to all. The board meeting is reconvened at this time. The time is 6:52. I'll call for a motion for the approval of the adoption of revisions to school board policies as noted.
So move?
Dr. Jones?
Second?
Mr. Dyer? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes 5-0. Action agenda item 11B, public hearing for adoption of revisions to the Code of Conduct, Student Code of Conduct Handbook for 25-26 school year. This item deals with approval for adoption of revisions to the Code of Student Conduct Handbook for 25-26 school year as noted. Dr. Moore, have you documented that this public hearing was properly advertised in accordance with state statutes?
Yes.
We now recess this meeting to conduct the public hearing as advertised. The public hearing is now in session. The time is 6:53. Dr. Moore, are there any written responses to the advertised public hearing to be read at this time?
Not at this time.
The public is invited to address only this issue at this time. Is there an individual representing an organization or his own personal or public interest who wishes to speak? You wish to speak?
I do.
Okay.
I just want to commend the committee and staff for the work you did around the Code of Conduct. As you know, there have been state changes as it relates to the cell phone policy. And once again, this district, this school board led from the front in terms of changing its policy. What was changed in state statute aligns with the work that we were already doing. So a number of times, superintendents have reached out who are scrambling to change their policies in code of conduct, and your code of conduct, it will be used as a model. So I think that was worth noting.
Before I conclude this part of it, I did have lunch with some administrators in another district the other day, and they were all complaining about how they're going to deal with this. And I kind of told them that we've already dealt with it and how we handled it. And Stay tough. All right. So the announced public hearing for approval of adoption of revisions to Code of Student Conduct Handbook for 25-26 school year has noted on this item has been conducted pursuant to notice, and ample opportunity to address this issue has been provided to all. The board meeting is reconvened at this time. The time is 6:55. I'll call for a motion for approval of the adoption of revisions to Student Code of Conduct Handbook for 25-26 school year as noted.
Make
So-
a motion?
Second?
Ms. Rosario with the first, Dr. Jones with the second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? It passes 5-0. All right, at this time, we have no items on our discussion. We are to school board member matters. Dr. Jones? Sure. Would you like to go first?
I just want to thank Dr. Moore, Cabinet, all teachers for another great academic year. Looking forward to the new one. We do need new posters that say top 5 instead of top 10, Doc, so gotta get that rolling. Please, for our parents, and I'll be talking about this on Bob Seuss tomorrow, our orientations are coming up. It's a great time to be at your schools and meet your teachers. Take a look at the website, look at our MySDIRC. I go on that app every day. It's wonderful. I did get to stop in at Storm Grove with the leadership, with all the principals and APs and the team leaders, and it was a wonderful event. They're ready to go. They're looking at their data. They're looking to see how we can become number one. And I loved it when Dr. Moore said, every person, every position we have relates to how we're going to get there. Support, district, administrators, instructional, and I believe that's very, very important. I worked with the Gifford Heritage Association. They had a public education forum on July 1st. Thank you to Mr. Green for speaking there. Thank you to Robbie Brackett, Barbara Hammond, Miss Shear from Indian River State College. It really, really was a good program, very well attended near a holiday weekend, so I was very, very proud of that. And I'm constantly looking at schools and how things are going, and the Bill Wilson track and field looks good. I know they started on the creative playground, and I'm very, very excited to see our timelines on that. So, excited for the new school year, and I think all the teachers come back to Vero Beach High School next Tuesday, the 5th. I think that's
Fun.
that's the opening. So again, thank you for a great school year, and looking forward to another great one.
Stop. Dr. Pasco, would you like to go next?
Sure. So I want to definitely thank all the teachers and administrative staff and everyone else in the district who is able to improve our scores to this point, as we just kind of reviewed today. And I can't understate that thank you and the appreciation for how much hard work has gone into improving scores and outcomes. And I know it's a lot of hard work and it's underappreciated. And I want to make sure you understand that. But I want to follow that up with, a sobering thought and just the desire to not be complacent, because we're considering ourselves one of the best districts in the state, number 5, with the goal and intention to be number 1. But what we're celebrating is a proficiency, as an example, that went up in English from 54 to 60% proficiency. And I just want to caution us patting ourselves on the back too much. I think that, if you were to talk to a family of 4 kids and let's say they were homeschooling or they weren't homeschooling and 60% of their kids were proficient in math or English, I don't think they'd see that as a success, right? I don't think any parent or family would consider that successful. So, I just want to add a sobering thought with the recognition to all the hard work that's gotten us here. And I think Dr. Moore knows this, that we are nowhere near stopping. That number needs to go up into the 90s, and ultimately we need to shoot aspirationally for 100. But 60% is not where we stop and celebrate that's where we supercharge and keep going.
Ms. Rosario?
Yeah, so I went to Engage last week. I can't remember which day I went, and I was happy to see Jaime Alberti in his element. So welcome to the district again, sir, as a formal welcome. And it was really exciting to see all of the leaders engaged, as is the title, Engage. And really excited about the new year, so I'm happy about that. And I'm excited about what is to come. We have 2 weeks left for schools opening, and I know children all over the county are getting ready. I walked into Walmart the other day, and it took me by surprise that all the supplies are up and out, and my son is going into his senior year, so of course I was like, oh my gosh, I miss being able to buy your school supplies, and now he doesn't need any of that stuff, but it really just brought me back to that place of even parents, how they welcome the new year. Maybe it's to get the schools, the students back into the schools, but they do welcome the new school year, and they're excited for that opportunity too. So I'm glad. And then also, I want to offer congratulations to the district, to all of the teachers, all of the school staff, all of the district staff members, all of the staff from behind the scenes, the tech, the safety, security, everyone that we don't even typically recognize, even our school resource officers who have an impact and who really do mentor children day in and day out. So I just want to thank everyone involved. When we say that it is a community effort, it really is a community effort. And I think Mr. McDonald said it best when he said it's student education, right? It's educating students and putting students first. Being Best by Kids is really, with that mindset, I don't think anyone can go wrong. So I think I'm probably going to steal that phrase from you, Mr. McDonald. But I am excited, and congratulations to everyone for a job well done, and let's see if we can get 100% of our schools to an A next year.
Mr. Dyer?
Yeah, I want to add my congratulations to the entire district, teachers, administrators, certainly the leadership for the results that you saw. What we accomplished last year was nothing short of amazing to get to number 5. But what was even more impressive to me is coming out of your Engage meeting and saying you're going to be number 1. And that, to me, when you're talking about, they're not settling for what is. They are going after number 1, and they have laid out how they can get there, what they need to do, student group by student group, student by student, to drive us to the number 1 position. And when you look at that, you can say, my gosh, we can do it. We can be number 1 in the state. Doesn't diminish anything that we still have a ways to go. I agree. There are areas and pockets of what we're doing that, even as an A district, are unacceptable. But I think within the data, when you dig in a little bit too, I looked at Vero Beach Elementary, the Moonshot School, and to see them come to an A, and to see them come from where they were in literacy, I think, what was it, under 50%, 40-something%, and now they're 71%. And that's one that we actually spent the resources through intervention, through teaching coaches, and through a lot of classroom dedication, and got that school to 71%, which was I guess our district average in third grade reading. But the most amazing thing to me, now this again is a Title I school. There are 2 teachers in that school that achieved 90%. 2 teachers that achieved 90%, which is equal to Beachland. That's amazing. When it shows you, and that was what that whole demonstration school was about. If we can do it there, we can do it anywhere. And so I would commend you on the tremendous progress we made last year, but more so on the fact that you're not resting on the laurels and you've set your goal as to be number one and know how you're going to get there and have made that part of your accountability for this coming school year. I mean, that's pretty impressive and amazing. So again, a salute to everybody in the school district, and thank you for what you have done and for what you're about to do.
Thank you. I also attended Engage and got an opportunity to speak to the staff and thank them for all their hard work, the leadership that was there. And right before I spoke, Dr. Moore spoke, and he said, basically, think about how you're going to get a little bit more from each of your members, each of your staff members, and each of your teachers. Ask for a little bit more, a little bit more. So I said on behalf of the board, Dr. Moore, I want to ask for a little bit more from you. And he immediately came back with, yeah, we're going to be number one. So good for you that you're still going forward and striving and making sure that all kids can read, all kids are successful. I also attended zoning and planning this past week. We still have some more building going on in this county, more homes being created. Somebody said, oh, they were talking about the big, huge 2 projects that are going up, one close to here and one in the South County. And I said, oh, those were approved a long time ago. They're just starting to come to fruition. So it does take a long time for that to happen, but it's still happening. I also attended the Treasure Coast Council Local Government's annual barbecue in Okeechobee. And of course, if you don't order the prime rib, you get the chicken, they make fun of you. So I got the prime rib. The speaker there was the past president of the Florida Association of Counties, and he was an Okeechobee County Commissioner, Terry Burrows. He was very good, and he was talking about, this tax alleviation that the governor wants to do and how it would affect counties like Okeechobee and different from our county, and because most people live there year-round versus our people, because the tax would come from people that are visiting. So it's quite interesting to kind of be in tune with that, and how it would affect the schools too was one of the comments that was made. So that was interesting. I also attended the School Board Association conference in June, and I did mention that in the last meeting. I don't want to go into everything, but I did get these, and I wanted to get those out to all of you. I attended this session. This is Hennes Corporation, or Communications. They are a communication company that works with crisis management. Hopefully, we'll never have to call them. But they have some really great key things that we need to know. And so they gave me this little kind of tip sheet to give to you guys about social media when you're interviewed and things like that. So I gave that to you. The other thing I attended was the Real-Time Crime Center. I went down there and visited, quite fascinating. If you haven't been, you're more than welcome to go. Sheriff Flowers is inviting everybody to go. And here you go. And he welcomes all of us. It was interesting to watch all our cameras. You can see all of our cameras, which is nice, and they're monitoring that in one area. But other people that walk through will not be able to see our cameras. That was on because it was summertime and I was a board member. But just so you know, if anybody else walks in there, and they're not going to be seeing kids. So don't worry about that part. But it was interesting. I was there on July 4th, I went that morning, and I got to see the Sebastian Parade route from the eyes of the deputies that were driving down the parade. So it was kind of interesting. There was also a chase that I got to watch.
Cool.
My heart was pounding, and I thought, gosh, what's it like to actually be in the chase if I'm just watching it on his camera? So that it's really interesting to go see that. I highly recommend all of you go. And the last thing I want to talk about is something else that came up at the Florida School Boards Association conference, and this was somebody that I met and talked to for a while, and they're doing a free Holocaust learning experience, and the other board members that have had this happen in their district raved about it. And so this is something that I'm going to give that information to you, Dr. Moore, and I think it would be worth looking into. It's free. So it was Holocaust information for kids, kind of like what we had with the Yeah, but it was a little different than that, so, good, because they had that also. All right, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to the superintendent for his closing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next 2 weeks will be extremely busy. I'd like to highlight a few events. August 3rd through the 11th, we'll kick off what we're calling our Blessings Week. We have created a slide, and I have recorded a video that we sent to every church and synagogue that we can possibly imagine, and we're asking for our entire community to pray our teachers, pray our administrators into this upcoming school year. So it'll be displayed at each of those churches and synagogues this weekend, and then we'll be able to feel the power of that prayer next weekend, right prior to the opening of schools. And our faith-based partners have truly been one of our greatest groups that we meet with and leverage behind and supporting those who really are ultimately doing God's work. Orientations. We set an expectation that orientation is our first opportunity to make a first impression on all of our children and all of our families, and for each school, regardless of the level, to make it very, very intentional, to ease the burden, the strain, the stress of returning to school. Later in the following week, after August 5th, we're going to have the first premiere in Big Sky, Montana, of the documentary series that was done on us and our work around moving to third grade proficiency. And very, very excited about the level of awareness and acknowledgement that this is going to bring to our system. The company that did this documentary, their last one was on Peacock, so who knows? Let's see how famous this work could be done. And as we closed out at Engage last week, the message throughout the week was to make, number one, a byproduct of creating ourselves in a way to ensure that 100% of our students experience a learning gain. Not 60, not 55, 70, but to hold ourselves accountable for a year's worth of growth. And the simple fact is, if you show up on our doorstep, you are welcome in our schools. And we are going to take you wherever you may be and wrap our arms around you, your family, and provide quality education. And at a minimum, provide a year's worth of growth. And for a student in a level 1, a year's worth of growth to make a learning gain requires you to make, in some cases, a year and a half worth of growth. Level 1s and level 2s, your rate of growth has to be more in order to have a learning gain, where high achieving students, it can just account for what would be a typical year's worth of growth. And that was the plan. I think I went into it a little bit more in detail during the workshop. But our 76 to 100 percentile, there's opportunities to hold ourselves to a higher standard to make sure, being proficient. You know, some kids on the first day of school, they can take the assessment for the end of the year and be proficient, but not have a learning gain. And we collectively, just not me, just not staff, as a community of leaders at each of our schools, that humongous crowded picture that I showed you, collectively agreed, we're ready. We have a level of readiness to take that on and actually achieve it. So the intentionality of what we're walking into is absolutely outstanding. I have not been able to voice this in the most appropriate way, but this is going in year 6, and the depth of our teachers, our teacher leaders, and our administrators in terms of what they're talking about and how they're problem solving isn't something that I've been able to experience in 31 years. And I think the outcome is reflective of that. The ownership that teachers and staff take in regards to these are our kids is something that is unique to our community. The fact that in this community, everyone is welcome. I don't care if you're advocating for education and you're advocating for our children, you're welcome at our table. And I think that is a prime reason Although there's people in this room who are sitting on opposite sides who have completely different political opinions, that's great. You live in Indian River County, we want you to contribute to this story that we're telling. And because of that and our willingness to say, hey, you live in Indian River County, you love our kids, be part of the solution. And I think time and time again, because of those relationships and that commitment, we are where we currently are. So we have set an expectation, a goal. I always tell the story, then I'll stop rambling and we all can go home because look how fast this board meeting was. You know, I was sitting right over there during my initial meeting, and I just looking at the numbers and visiting the community, I said every school here should be an A. I mean, there's no reason schools that are in the inner city in Miami can be an A, and every school can't be here. And that's will be one of the byproducts of holding ourselves accountable to doing whatever we need to collectively do to provide every student the services, the support, the love, the care, the encouragement, the push, the discipline, whatever it may be, we will provide to get them at least a year's worth of growth. So we're going for what no other system, and Dr. Posca, you're right, no other systems are, you know, well, so look, we're an A. First thing I told all, you know, stop talking about being an A. No kidding. We're an A. And we'll be an A next year. But we've set the highest standard for ourselves. And I think we're locked and loaded and ready to have all kinds of issues and concerns. We're going to have a meeting right after this and deal with the concern we just learned about. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I'd like to thank everyone for viewing and coming out this evening. At this time, I'd like to ask, is anyone objecting to me adjourning the meeting?
No.
No? Okay. The time is 7:16. We're adjourned.